farmers have agreed or discussed problems of chicken, whatever word you want to use for it, is a problem, then you can't shame one another at the supermarket or whenever you run into one another. So some of the field work shows you how, well, they did it right in the lab, but in the field, that's what we are finding is that when things work, people have a way that they have committed that this is something that they should do. And they tend to chide one another if they observe that they don't. And eventually, if chiding doesn't work, some kind of mechanism pops in. You don't look convinced yet.
I was just thinking that, I mean, that almost seems more observational than experimental. And I was thinking that, like, when you, like, what I was wondering was, like, the actual creation of an experiment on the field. Is that something that you think is...
Oh, you mean a field experiment where we try out something?
Right, something like the work of, like, Duflo and Banerjee, like, do you think something on those accounts is something that your field is going to move in the direction of, or is acceptable in your field to move in that direction? Do you think it's necessary?
Well, I think that it's hard for people, you know, the chicken farmers might not agree to be experimented on. But if we can get good field research going when there are new policies adopted, for example, I'll talk this evening about the agency-managed irrigation system and the farmer-managed irrigation systems in Nepal. And one of the things that they're now doing is they're having an annual meeting and bringing, there are lots and lots of these in Nepal, and they're trying to find how do you get some of them organized in a region, and then how do you get a national association where you can then talk about new techniques, innovative, you give an award or two for innovation of some of them because they've established a really good record. And those kinds of meetings are very, very important. And in the U.S., sometimes they are, at least in California when I grew up, it used to be that all the conservation districts had a meeting every year. The treasurers of local cities would have the Treasurers Association. All of these meetings where you would be discussing the problems that are occurring and what some people are doing. And that's how you learn. And so I do think we have to think of all government policies as serious experiments. You can't ever get it perfect on the first time. You just write a bunch of words and it's perfect.
You've talked a lot about the importance of convincing people that policy affects them and encouraging cooperation and other things. So I was curious whether you've done any work with psychologists, and if so, whether any psychological subfield was particularly relevant to your work.
Well, there's a lot in cognitive psych, and we have a good cognitive psych program at IU, and I do work with Jerry Busmeyer and some others. Some of my new experiments are kind of interesting. They were started by a psychologist, and we worked and did a joint paper, and then Marco and I have a new one. If we do just the simple math, that was very important in the beginning because that was what the economists were all using. And if we had not started with the math model that they all used and all did, it would have been hard to explain and convince them that that model worked in one setting but didn't work in another. So here's the same model, no communication works, communication doesn't. That's very important findings. Now the ecologists have come to us and said, oh, that's stupid. Well, that's really what to call it. That stupid curvilinear function, it's not very good biology. And can't you do anything with a more complex environment? Well, now that we've done 15, 20 years of very simple systems, now you can get a screen that has a lot of pixels. And Marco, again, this is kind of, that's not agency-based models, but it's a way of getting a way of representing reality that's a little different. And so if you people, if you start a screen with half of the pixels with little ring dots in them, and a replenishment rate, so that if you take one of those dots away, it comes back if the more dots in the more neighborhood right around it. So its chance of replenishing depends upon the density of things right around it, which is like a meadow, like many fisheries, like many resources. Density dependent. Well, in the lab then, what we do is we give people these big screens, and they are half populated, explain it to them, we give them lots of time to test it out themselves. So they can move their cursor, and it's kind of like Pac-Man. Every time you grab one of these, you get 2 cents. Well, if you grab them all too fast, we normally have a 4-minute round. And you can sit there for 2 minutes, and you've grabbed them all, and there's nothing happening, and you can't earn any more money. And so it's a real graphic way of seeing over-harvesting. And then, again, you can give people a chance to vote on different rules. Give them a chance to communicate. Now we can use the chat room. And the chat room is nice because a lot of people are used to it. And sometimes they use abbreviations I don't understand. But if you have a young college student help you with the reading of what they are saying to one another. And then with communication, we're finding that they are able to slow themselves down, and their basic strategy is slow down your harvesting. Maybe don't harvest it all for 30 seconds and then start slowly. Great increase in total harvesting rate. And we've just done a paper that has gone through 2 reviews at Science, and the third, we've just submitted the 3rd revision, and I'm hoping that it does get accepted as Science. It's very hard to get something into Science. And but we introduced the capability of punishing, and punishing has been tested a lot, and sometimes it is successful, but frequently not net beneficial. But we find really interesting that without communication paired with punishment, punishment does not lead to any increase in benefits, but it's when it's paired or communication alone. So we're able then, no communication, no, nothing, just open access, people overharvest. Allow communication alone, allow punishment alone, and allow communication and punishment together. And these are then different conditions. And everything else is the same. You've got this environment, you know mathematically what's going on, you can record it, and you can then see the patterns of how do people harvest, and how much do they earn, and how much is left after 2 or 3 minutes. And it's getting us a way of getting even more complex, but this has to be done. It's complex. One of the reviewers was very unhappy with the complexity. The other reviewer understood it. And I'm hoping that we've now got it clear enough so that it will be accepted. But it is, how do we then build, that's why agency-based models are useful. Because there's some of the complexity you can't put in either. And if you add it carefully and well, then it's a great tool. But it's then, how do we then, how do we get in the field? See some of these things going on in the field. And studying some of the lobster fishery and some of the others where people are either dividing space or timing. Then that leads you to space and time and turn out to be more important than quantity in a lot of field studies. So we didn't look at quantity measures, we looked at space and time to see if we can see the importance.
I think we should bring this session to a close and give Professor Ostrom a little time to rest up before this evening. And so hope you enjoyed the session, and let's show our appreciation to
I want to encourage all of you. As a young person, you don't think ahead about what can you do. Some of you are going to just be citizens, which is terrible. You're going to be citizens and active Some of you are going to go into public service. Some of you are going to be academics. All of those are very important futures. Take yourself seriously because you have only limited time. And you want to have fun, sure, that's important. But you also can make a big difference